Welcome to KZRO. Welcome to the Life in Zero Gravity show. Just made that up. That was improvised, as you can see. That looks like we're quickly struggling with the connection. There we go. Better. If there's any mistakes there, you see why. It's not my fault. I have a brother who plays games probably roughly 8 hours a day. No joke. So, if I'm over here, a lot of times I record this at my parents' house. I haven't recorded one at my place yet. Or not, I haven't recorded a video episode there, I should say. But, it might be something I have to try in the future. There's always those games, man, they take up a lot of bandwidth and it messes up the connection. Because this really isn't going to take that much, especially compared to a game. So it's pretty rough out here. But welcome to Life in Zero Gravity. Bienvenidos a Vida en Cero Gravedad. Tú sabes las vibras. You know the vibes. You know by now. If you don't, you're going to find out the vibes. You're going to discover the vibes. You're going to learn about them and embrace the vibes. That's what we do here. It's interesting. It's interesting to see my face from different angles that I don't always see it from. Not a fan of every angle, I'd say. But hey, gotta start somewhere. Yeah, this one makes me look kind of fat, right? This angle. Look at that. That's how I felt in some videos from this weekend. I was like, man, why do I look like that? Do I really look like that? I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. What the lies are. Oh no, let's say the camera adds 10 pounds. I have two cameras on, so that's why it's clearly added 20 pounds. I'm playing. I only have one camera on. But I feel like I look different. I'm not liking this too much. Hopefully you like this more than me. As you can tell, you could probably tell, I'm not in like the most excited mood today, I'd say. But I'm gonna power through, try to create a solid episode for you. Okay, that's the goal here. I don't want to do this. That looks way worse. Oh man, I forget. So this thing. This is not really a good angle for most people. So that's weird. That like doesn't even look like me. It's so strange. Like this image that you're seeing here, it like doesn't even look like me really. But apparently that's me. Apparently, who knew? Let's see. I'm trying to find a better angle for this. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Seems a little better. I still don't really like it. It's like the lighting's weird and all that. Oh well. Oh well. I'm just gonna get this going. So I got canceled by at least one subscriber last week. I'm not sure. I know the number changed, right? On YouTube. Well, YouTube will tell you straight up. It says -1. So I lost somebody. And I lost one on Spotify. Like YouTube, I think we were at like, I don't know, 1,678, and it went down to 1,677. And a lot of those probably aren't even real people tuning in. I don't know, because the plays are not very high. But apparently on YouTube, I have lost a subscriber after last week's episode. I don't know. It's just kind of funny because that episode was called "It's Giving Canceled," and I actually did end up getting canceled by somebody. So it's kind of funny. I guess I manifested that. I manifested getting canceled to use all the Zoomer terms in one go. I manifested getting canceled. What happened to, they talk about manifest and talk about your destiny, right? But why is everyone so against manifest destiny? I'm playing. No, it is like, why are we using manifest? Maybe we should think about that more, because the manifest it usually is not the most positive, or like in historical terms, it's not the most positive term. You know, at least like looking back. I don't know, maybe some people view manifest destiny in a positive light, but I feel like it's generally seen as like stealing people's land, killing people, and all that. It's not really seen in the necessarily 100% positive light, shall we say. So, yeah, I got canceled by that subscriber. Oh, this actually flows perfectly to the next point I was going to make. Some people say that British bands are better, like British rock bands are better. I would like to point out that they had like a huge head start at cultural appropriation compared to America. You know, Britain. I mean, Britain has been stealing culture for like thousands of years. Thousands of years they've been stealing culture from Britain. America, it's only been like 300 years. 300, no, like 350 years, right? No, I did that math totally wrong. 250 years, I'm sorry. I was thinking of 1700s to now. Yeah, 250 years. Roughly. Slightly less than 250 years. So it hasn't been that long. We're still learning how to appropriate culture here. We're still noobs at appropriating culture here. No, I just thought it was kind of funny. Because, I mean, Britain does have a lot of great bands, right? They got the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, you know, all those, and a lot of other ones. But, I mean, in America, like, okay, straight up, I'm taking American hip-hop over British hip-hop. I'm sorry, I know you like your grime and all that. That stuff can't hold a candle to American hip-hop. Let's be real. I mean, in the modern terms, yeah, there's a lot of bad American hip-hop I get, okay? But American hip-hop is still top dog in the world, you know, don't get it twisted. And I would also like to say that there are a lot more successful, popular female rappers compared to what there used to be. But when people, one thing that you'll hear people say is like, the girls are killing it more than the dudes these days. And I would just like to say, where is the female Nas? Where is the female Tupac? Where's the female Eminem? Where are any of them? Where is the female Jay-Z? Nothing against females, obviously, you know, but I just wonder those types of things. Because where are those level of artists? Yeah, you got some hit makers, you know, there's hit makers, there's some Ice Spices, there's some Nicki Minaj's, you know, there's so Ice Spice, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, right? These are the popular female rappers of the day. So you have those. It's all well and good, right? But are any of them Tupac or Eminem or Jay-Z, you know? Like, is it fair? I think probably the closest is Nicki Minaj, right? But I don't think most people would actually say that, like, Nicki Minaj is on the level of, like, Tupac, right? I don't think people would say that. I don't think that would be a common um, theory, shall we say. This is getting hot. I didn't want to do this because I feel like I always end up wearing this shirt on Sundays. So, yes, I'm wearing a similar shirt. I think I've worn this shirt on here at least once, maybe twice. But it's usually because I wear it's like a casual shirt. But this jacket got really hot, so actually I'm probably gonna have to take this whole jacket off, to be honest. It's just too. I don't want that to sound bad, so I'm gonna get naked right now. Prepare yourself, YouTube censors. No, they just take the whole video down. But yes. So I didn't want to do that. I really didn't want to have to do that. Why? What is up with my appearance? I'm just not feeling it on here today. I'm sorry. I don't want to complain about that the whole time. But it's just something weird about this lighting. I don't feel like I look as good in like this type of overcast weather. Watch. This type of stuff. Like, yeah, you can kind of see it. It's like super overcast out there. right? Can you tell? Sorry, my brother likes to collect cans or collect like collectibles in general. Although I think I added those to his collection. I don't know if he wants to keep those or not. But you see how it's very gloomy out there. You know, I feel like I look I look my best in the sunlight, right? Like no artificial light looks as good. And so when there's no sunlight, you get this. I'm not really feeling it. Not really feeling it. I don't know what's going on. It's weird. Maybe other people like how this looks, but I'm not feeling this today. Sorry. Even my hair. It's a little wild, as it were. Right? Like kind of messy. Anyway. I don't know. So that's what I was saying. The British bands, they make that point, and like there's a lot of good British bands, but people forget that there are a lot of great American bands as well, and they, you know, a lot of modern music genres basically just stole from American black people. Let's be honest. I mean, the music I make comes from American black people. Hip hop, rap, R&B, all those genres come from American black people. That's where my genres that I mainly work in come from. So, like the bands that you talk about, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, that all their styles of music come from American black people. You know what I mean? Like they took it and yeah, they evolved it or whatever, or not even evolved it, but they took it, influenced them, and they used it to make a a different style kind of. But let it be known that that music came from American black people. So it's always kind of funny. It's like I don't know if you can really make that point because at the end of the day, it all came from American black people. So can we really say that like England produces better bands? If like those bands wouldn't exist without the American black people? Is it true? Is it true? I don't know. I thought it was interesting because I've heard that several times, really, and I think about it. I'm like, well, forgetting about obviously there's a lot of American bands. There's like Aerosmith, Leonard Skinner, even something like Weezer, Nirvana, Rage Against the Machine, Guns N' Roses, like there's a lot out there. I know it's like you hear, oh, the Eagles, you know. Then if you're getting into other genres, I mean, what's more influential than Parliament Funkadelic, for example? You know, Prince and the Revolution. Sure, Prince is a solo artist, but he does have a band. And I mean, we have a lot. That's one thing is we have a lot more of the individual artists here, like the singers. We got like people like Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Prince. Beyonce, like all of these type of people. There's like so many. I don't feel like there are as many of those in England. There aren't as many of the like yeah, you got like David Bowie, and I know there's a lot of others, but in America it's like, well, for one, hip hop is usually a solo thing, or like there's sometimes groups, but there's a lot of solo hip hop acts, right? So if you got all of them coming from America, there's no grime artist that's really touching like the legends of American hip hop, honestly. Even though I know some of them got talent and all that, but it's just not. They're not really touching that level. If we're being fully honest here, so I don't know. I just thought it's kind of a funny statement because it's true. Like some of the biggest rock bands of all time, yeah, are from Britain, but there's a lot from America that people just don't even think of. I mean, including like the whole genre being invented in America. Like that's a major thing. So what, you know, then you want to talk about, we got all the jazz musicians here, honestly, and it's a lot to it. A lot to it. I didn't. I just thought about it, I named Weezer in there. Weezer, especially early Weezer, is a great band, and I know that they've become kind of a punchline to some people. Still make good music, but like they legitimately made like some of the best music ever, especially early on. So it's like that all counts. Yeah, the UK has, you know, Blur, Oasis. They got some good stuff from over there. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, some of my favorite artists. I mean, literally one of my favorite artists ever. One of the people who influenced me the most, Damon Albarn, from Blur and Gorillaz. I mean, he's from England, so not taking anything away from England. I'm just like, you forget because a lot of in America we hate on America a lot. Even I've been hating on America on here. So yeah, that's why you have like cancel culture. Cancel culture is like, imagine just building your whole life. Like you work really hard, you toil away at your art, you put in these hours. You're working full time, but you put in these hours just to elevate your art, just to do better in your life. You know, you do all this for years and years, and some teenagers come along and dig up something you said a really long time ago, take it out of context, and get you canceled where you can't work anymore, and all this legacy that you built for 30 years is down the drain, and you can't get a job, you can't do anything, you're just stuck. Like, sometimes I just think about that side of it, and I'm like, man, it's rough. I understand like some people do stuff that's worth canceling. I believe I mentioned that last week, but at what cost sometimes, you know? There are people that legitimately deserve to have their means of income taken away for disrespecting people to such a horrible extent, and just to be taught a lesson that like it's not okay. But I feel like it's just people are just so quick to pass that judgment these days, and people will have their careers torn down, in one night, just by people happening to find some old stuff they said that maybe wasn't so cool, but is it really relevant today? And that's not to say, I do legitimately think some people don't deserve to be making that money off of people when they're that disrespectful. I do legitimately agree with that, but I don't know. It's gotten to a point where it's like crying wolf, and there's just so much of it now that it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it's really like using that purpose to the best of its abilities. That's what I would say. So anyway, get to some reviews. I watched. Let me see. I'll start with the one I didn't like as much. I saw Scream 6 in theaters with my Regal Unlimited Pass, as I've mentioned time and time again. Getting back into watching the movies. So I watched Scream 6. I hadn't seen Scream 5, so I didn't really have that to compare it to. So I don't know. If I had to guess, Scream 5 is probably better because I get the sense that this one wore it out a little bit. It wore out the Scream welcome back. And to be honest, I don't know if I've seen any of the other Scream movies. I know I've seen part. I have a general idea of what they're about, but I don't think I've seen. I know I haven't seen them all for sure. I know that. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them are not good, or at least some of them are not good. So I may never see them. So I don't have much to compare it to. So keep that in mind for the context. But I would say that this Scream overall is successful. It's a it's pretty good, you know. Better than Knock at the Cabin was. Maybe just for the simple reason that it's more focused. a little bit more focused. It's more focused and it feels like it has more of a point to it. You know, Knock at the Cabin felt like they were trying to make a story about the four horsemen of the apocalypse, but it sort of lost focus, or like you're wondering, okay, what's the purpose of all this? Like, I guess they saved the world by making the right decision by, killing somebody, killing one of them, sacrificing them. That's how they saved the world. He sacrificed somebody he loved because he's pure. It's like, I don't know. It was a bit. So with this one, didn't really love the ending, but it felt like it actually had a better twist, ironically. Scream 6. But it felt a little forced still, but it was still a better twist, even though it was a little bit forced. And it kind of like was keeping you guessing as to who the real killer was, because they go a couple of different directions. So you're not sure exactly who it's going to be. And I don't know, I mean, the acting was pretty solid, especially for a horror movie. It did have horror legend Jenna Ortega in it. That was one of the things I saw in the build up to it. I think it was like one of these like Snapchat stories that was like basically an ad talking about it. They called her horror legend, and I was like, is she a legend? She's like 20, right? I mean, technically, you could be a legend at 20, but it just seemed like she's been in a couple horror things. As far as I know, she's been in like X, the Scream movies now, and Wednesday. I was like, is that enough to make you a horror legend? It seems a bit soon. Seems a bit soon to me, but I don't know. I mean, just somebody being in a couple horror movies, I don't know if that makes them a legend. I'm not saying. I think it seems a little early. A 20-year-old's a legend because she's been in like 3 horror things. Now they happen to be. Um, One is a franchise, right? The X and Pearl and what's the next one called? Machina? I don't remember. Maxine, my bad. X, Pearl, and Maxine. Those are all like related, you know. That's like that's gonna be a trilogy when Maxine comes out. I believe that's what it's called, Maxine. I could actually be wrong on that. But so she's in that franchise. She's in Wednesday, which is another, or that's one where it's like a one of those classic horror franchises, I guess. So she's in that, and Scream, which is also a classic horror franchise. I don't know if that's enough to make you a legend. And I also thought, I think I mentioned, I thought it was weird that Michael B. Jordan had a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame already when he's like 36. I mean, he's been in some big movies. I was like, is he like a Hollywood Walk of Fame star? I know it doesn't mean as much as it used to, but that seemed a little weird to me. Nothing against him. I mean, he seems like a nice guy, and he's made a lot of successful movies, or not a lot, but a couple of successful movies. So, I mean, I think I've liked every movie he's been in, but it still did just seem a little soon. But that's just me. It's just me. Maybe he wanted to flex on people who said he was corny in high school. Maybe that was the point of it. But yeah, so horror legend Jenny Ortega. So the movie it ends weird. It's a little over the top acting at the end. Spoiler alert if you don't want to know. Spoiler alert. Maybe skip ahead a minute, something like that. So what happens is Ghostface is the guy's family. Her so the one of the main girls, she dated her boyfriend was the Scream killer, right? And she ended up killing him. So the family gets revenge in this one, basically, and they show up at the end. You don't know till the end that it's the family, right? And it's like that. So that's basically the twist. You don't know that, But by the end, the family, I mean, they're just overacting, and it just makes it harder to take it seriously. So it didn't fully ruin it, but it definitely made me think, oh man, I don't know why they did that. So yeah, that's one thing that I would say. So in the end, I think I would. It seems a little higher. At the most, it's a 7 out of 11 Zeus Slab Sky. I think that might be fair, even though I don't really like the way it ends. I thought it was kind of cheesy. But yeah, that's the reviews. That's what I would give that one. So then I saw Creed 3, and right from the jump, um, Creed 3 just seemed like it was going to be good to me because they used that Dr. Dre song, The Watcher, but they used it in a subtle way where it's just kind of interpolating it into the soundtrack. And it's almost like what Jordan Peele did with the I Got Five on it on Us. Yeah, it was almost like that. So when I saw that opening sequence where they use that song, and it's set like around 2002, I think, in the beginning or early 2000s, either way, which would have been that song still would have. I mean, it's still popular today, but it definitely would have been popular then. So they're using it, and it slowly builds up, and then it turns into the song because at first it's like just like the bass line. That's all you hear. That it's just like the soundtrack. Which honestly, I give Michael B. Jordan credit. He directed this movie. This is his directorial debut, and I thought that was cool. I don't know. That got me hyped watching it. I was like, this is cool. This sequence here is cool. You know, the movie had a pretty good story. It's basically about like Michael B. Jordan's or Creed, Adonis Creed. I almost called him Apollo Creed. Adonis Creed. He lived in a group home with this guy, and he is helping the guy who was like a boxer. He was a Golden Glove champion, right? And so Adonis is helping him out, and they end up like, what's it like? So they're at these like underground fights. He's winning. Adonis is betting on the fights, making money, and they run into this guy that abused Adonis as a kid. So Adonis is getting some get back, and he starts beating the shit out of this guy. And then his friend pulls a gun on him, right? And so he ends up getting locked up for a long time. Adonis never visits, but part of the reason why is because his mom said, like, his mom hid these letters that Adonis got from, what is his name? I forget his name. Diamond, I know, is his boxing nickname. I can't remember the character's name, but anyways, the guy that Jonathan Majors plays. So they go all the way back. Like, they try to steal stuff from the store, and he ends up going to jail for it. Diamond, right? Adonis Creed was able to run away, break away, so he didn't get in trouble. So that's and then his friend is upset with him for never visiting him, and he saw this like Adonis ended up becoming like this Hall of Fame boxer, and like the friend didn't get to do that. Like he was in jail for like 15 years, I believe, prison for like 15 years, and when he gets out, like he wants to make right, do better in the world, but like it's very difficult, when you're getting out of prison after that long. So basically, like it's going well. And honestly, I don't have anything that I like strongly disliked about the movie. There's a couple things. It felt like after all the build up in the movie to the animosity, like with him basically calling Adonis like a fraud, Adonis retires, and like he ends up getting a shot at the heavyweight title because Adonis, one of the guys that he manages, ends up he has the heavyweight title, right? He's trying to defend it, and basically he ends up taking it from him. So, I mean, the movie was pretty good. It just gets, it was good. Overall, it was good. Actually, it was better than Scream. But it feels like after all this build up to like why they don't like each other, the fight is a little bit anticlimactic. It's cool, but it felt like Creed was mostly winning that fight. You know, I know like at the first round they made it seem like he was way down on the scorecards. I was like, not really. Based on what we've seen, I guess we're not seeing the full rounds. But it felt like they could have focused a little more on showing the actual boxing. If that makes sense. I think that's what people want to see. But it's comfortable, you know. I felt like they just didn't show enough of the actual boxing. Like they showed a little bit, but they didn't show like enough for it to really work fully. So that's the one thing I would say. It's just if there is going to be a Creed 4, which it looks like there probably will be, maybe this time just show, more of the boxing. Just show them actually fighting more, and I think that'll be better. Because on this one, it's like, yeah, they fought, but like, it felt like it was just the last 15 minutes of the movie, really, and it felt like it could have built up more, you know. So that was just my take, but I give it an 8 out of 10, guy, in the Zeus Slab scale. So 8 out of 11, pretty solid movie, honestly. I can't really complain. And I will be right back though, so you stay tuned. All right, Big Zero returns with new hair. Now that hair just went down a little. Anyway, let's get back into it. Everything. Speaking of movies, Everything Everywhere All at Once won like all the Oscars. It couldn't have happened to a more deserving movie. I legitimately think that's probably one of the best movies I've seen, and I really thought it deserved it, and I honestly felt like it was gonna win. I just had a good feeling, I felt like it was gonna win. It just felt like now this movie has too much momentum, you know, and so I don't remember everything that it won for, but it won for it won 7, I know. So if I missed anything, my bad. Let's see. I'm writing this on my. Sorry, I'm like titling this. Why am I doing this now? TKYV. Yeah, that's why I shouldn't be doing this. YKTV 12. That's what this is. Welcome to YKTV 12. So it won Best Picture, right? That's one of the Oscars for Best Picture. Biggest one probably. It's the biggest award. That's the one they do last. It's the biggest award there is. So it won for that. It won for Best Director, which was two guys. that directed it actually. Then it won for what's it called? Oh, it won for Best Actress. Michelle Yeoh, Best Actress. Well deserved. She really was amazing in the role, so she deserved that. The guy from Indiana Jones won Best Supporting Actor. Ki Hwan. I might be. I'm sure I'm saying is it Ki Hyun. I'm sorry. I'm sure I'm saying his name. I know his first name is K-E. K. Ki. So I was probably the happiest for him, honestly, because I remember seeing an interview that week where he said that he was about to lose. He actually lost his health insurance in 2021, or no, 2020. Yeah, my bad. 2021. He lost his health insurance because he wasn't getting booked in movies, and then he got booked in that, and it changed his life forever. So it's crazy to think, and it's crazy that you could lose your insurance like that. It really shouldn't even be a thing. But anyway, yeah. So he won for that. So what is that? Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor. Best Supporting Actress, Jamie Lee Curtis. That was crazy. Jamie Lee Curtis won. She's been in Hollywood for so long. Probably thought she'd never win an Oscar, honestly. She probably got to a point where she was like, well, I'm not going to win an Oscar. So she wins. Great for her. She did great in the movie. You know, it would have been cool if Angela Bassett won, but honestly, looking back, I'm kind of surprised that she was even nominated for that role. She is a good actress, a great actress, really, but like that particular role, for one, she's not in the movie all that much. You know, like she dies fairly early on, from what I remember, in Wakanda Forever. Oh, spoiler alert. So the fact that she really, you should have seen that movie by now. Like what? So the fact that she what's it called? Didn't win. I didn't think that that was that bad because like that performance, it was good. Don't get me wrong, but I was a little surprised that she was nominated because she's not in the movie all that much. And I mean, I think I've seen her play better roles personally. So she was good though. Don't get me wrong. So that's like five, I believe. And I can't remember the other two, but I think it might have won for best screenplay. But it won for like all of the major things you can think of. So very impressive. If you haven't seen it, it really is an incredible movie. So I'd highly recommend watching it. You know, I thought it deserved to win all that. Um, I wasn't as I mostly wanted to win Best Picture. The other stuff was kind of icing on the cake, but I legitimately thought it was like the best movie I saw of the last few years. Really, like I can't think of anything clearly better in my view. So I thought that was impressive. And really everything that won I was happy with. It's the only time I can think of that I've ever felt that way. Everything that won was like a great thing. Guillermo del Toro winning for Pinocchio. So now he's probably one of the only people to win Best Animated Film and Best Film at the Academy Awards. Like that's crazy. That's just crazy to even think of. But he deserves it. That really was the best anime movie I saw. You know, Puss in Boots is cool too. It's just something different about Pinocchio, but how long that took, and the unique art style. It was just pretty wild. So impressive stuff. Um, Congratulations to them. Like, so I'm saying, just like everything I wanted to win won. So it's one of those rare times where I feel like they got it right. It was just very likable as a movie. Really doing something different, pushing the boundaries. And it's very hard to give people an original experience these days. And that movie managed to give us an original experience at the movies. Doesn't happen much these days. Seriously, so kudos to the team that made it. They really deserved all the awards they won. So yeah, congratulations. I went to a bar for St. Patrick's Day and I saw this Morrissey slash Cure cover band. It was cool. It was cool. It was a fun experience. But the bar, man, you gotta know on St. Patrick's Day the bar's gonna be crazy. It was just ridiculous. Like being in there, like I couldn't believe it. Like how packed it was. Like I knew it would be packed, but that was crazy. Just a crazy experience. But it was fun. It was worth. I don't usually do anything for St. Patrick's Day, so it was cool to actually do something. Oh, throwback to the there was this homeless man who thought that I was Morrissey. Like I was walking by and he said Morrissey. He really thought that I was Morrissey because Morrissey. He was a popular artist in that guy's time. I'm sure this is an older um, home owning challenged gentleman. He saw me. He thought I was Morrissey. And honestly, if you see like me when I was in high school and Morrissey young, you can kind of see it a little. I could see why he thought that. There's not much of a resemblance now, but when I was young and Morrissey was young, more of a resemblance. I think it's more that Morrissey has changed more. Because I mean, I'm a younger guy, so I haven't changed as much as Morrissey has physically. But yeah, it was funny. He legitimately thought I was Morrissey. Felt like a compliment, kind of. It's like, oh, you look like this famous musician. Like, it's not really a bad thing, right? So yeah, it's kind of funny to go back. Thank you to everyone who came out to shoot the show. It was really fun. It was a lot of. I thought the other acts were actually good, and sometimes when I go to these, like the other acts are terrible. So I thought they did a good job of putting together talent for this event, especially me. But yeah, so thank you to everyone who came out to Los Globos. I appreciate you. It was fun. And I'll be back there on April 20th. I'll be back. So I'm looking forward to that. It's a interesting venue. Yeah, I thought it was just an interesting venue. So yeah, thank you to everyone who came. The parking's terrible over there, I know, but thank you for braving it and coming and showing up, and we had a good time. I almost thought everyone had to know me by the way they were cheering, but apparently not. I don't get to record as much as I would like to. It's difficult to find the time. Like I'm working so much, it's really hard to actually get in there as much as I would like. It makes it hard, man. It really does. It's difficult, like, because that's what I really want to do with my life, and like I can't really put I can't put a fraction of the effort I want to into it, without getting in trouble. I have these violations on Instagram that won't be gone till November. It's just ridiculous. It's like, so one of them was in a close friends story thing. That's probably the most legitimate one. It was in a close friends story, even though only like I think I only have like two people in my close friends. So barely anyone could see it anyway, and I got a violation for that. That one was legit. Um, I didn't think it was a good way to find out that you can still get in trouble for stuff in your close friend's story, even though only they can see it. I know nobody reported that. I think I literally might have only had one girl in there, and I posted a thirst trap that was showing quite a bit. So I think that's part of the problem. But anyway, I don't get to record as much as I want to. I want to record a lot more. I'm trying to work on that. It's just hard to find the time. So, I again, I do want to thank everyone for coming out. I'll be back at Los Globos on 420. So mark your calendars. Bring your weed. I'm gonna be back there that day. If y'all are ready for some action. I promise a better show. I guess I can't really promise that. I promise to give more of an effort, even though I did give a good effort. There was spots to improve, but I think I did well overall. There's always like stuff you could do better, stuff you could do differently. But overall, I was happy with the performance, and I was excited to do another one soon. So I'm looking forward to that. Uh, You know, so hopefully we can break through because these Instagram violations have really gotten to be a lot. I'm caught in like an endless work spiral now, and there's like no time for fun. Like a lot of these, last week I worked 84 hours. This week I think I'm gonna end up working like 77 hours. It's just crazy, and it's not fun anymore. And it's just really rough. So I hope I can break out of that. It's getting really old. You know, I'm honestly like ready to make major changes in my life. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do, but I know that I want different for myself. I want more for myself. I want more for those around me. So I'm hoping that what I do can like lead to some gold down the line for everybody. So I hope so. I'm ready to make changes in my life, honestly. So you know, you're lucky if you don't have to deal with that. Don't take it for granted. Once you get to a certain age and you like have to make a certain amount of money and it's hard to get by if you don't, just cherish the times you have where you don't have to worry about that stuff. Cherish them. It feels like there's a lot that's like getting in my way. So it's tough to persevere some days, but I do my best to make the most of every situation. You know me, like I always do. I do a lot of work I barely get paid for, but I don't know. I just hope to keep rising and eventually things will take care of themselves. I do a lot of work that I barely get paid that, but, you know, it's a lot of difficulties. It feels like things are working against me a lot of times. It's like, no, you gotta work 70 to 80 hours a week just to get by, and everything's gonna cost more. And if you don't use that money to buy things, then we're gonna like excommunicate you. It's just a lot. Sometimes I just want to turn my brain off and just meditate, but it's easier said than done, most definitely. So I do, yeah. I mean, I I love where things are going, but I just need more of a push in the direction where I want to end up. That's all. I could really use your help. Like, help me put on for the city and all that. I really want to. I want to make things work. Yeah. I do a lot of work that I barely get paid for, so I want to get paid. So I think that'll be good for this segment. I'll be right back with some of your other favorite segments on KZRO. You know how I usually do. I got sports, I got Book of Grav. What more you want from me? Stay tuned. I will be right back. KZRO Sports. So there's not too much in the world of sports to get into. Oh, one thing that was surprising is Leon Edwards last night beat Kamaru Usman to retain the welterweight title. That was a bit surprising. A lot of people didn't think Edwards could do it. I kind of had a feeling, just because when you get knocked out like that, it could be really demoralizing, and it can be hard to bounce back from. The way that Usman got knocked out in the last fight, the second fight. So now he wins the trilogy. I don't. There still could be another fight. I don't think it should happen right away for sure. This was a close fight that people thought was controversial, so we'll see. There's probably an argument to be made either way. But if he's the champion, he's technically the champion. It's an even fight. That almost always goes to the champion, so nobody should be mad about that because draws are very rare. You got to get three people, three judges to see it exactly the same way. Seems like that could happen, right? But they almost never see rounds the same. So there you go. Unless they're just totally dominant. But KZRO Sports. So yeah, Leon Edwards won. That was pretty wild. The Lakers, man, they're getting annoying in the way that they're losing these games. Like games that they totally could win. Like when they lost to the Rockets the other night. AD doesn't play. Questionable decision, honestly, since there's not a lot of back to backs left. Not even a lot of time left. Probably should have just played AD. They lose by like 2, I think. Then last night, Dallas beats them by 1 because Kyrie shot a 3 over his head. So that sucked. No, no, my bad. Kyrie passed it and they shot a 3 over their head right at the end. That's what happened. So that was trash. Right at the end. 111, 110. Totally could have won that game, but they lost. And it's because of just weird decisions. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, I'm not here to say fire the coach because I don't even think they should do that. But the organization just they got too worried about using Anthony Davis. If they would have used him, they definitely would have won that. You can't tell me AD wouldn't put up more than 3 points. Actually, they only need him to put up 1 point. Well, with the Rockets, it was like 2 or 3 points. Last night, I mean, AD did play, but they lost it. They blew it, and it just is trash. Such trash. But yeah, and the Lakers really need every win they can get right now, and they're just fumbling the bag sometimes. It doesn't even make any sense. It's like, why would you do that? Why are you fumbling the bag this hard? But I don't know. Got the World Baseball Classic going on right now. That's been probably more entertaining than a lot of people expected to be. It hasn't really, you know, baseball hasn't really been global like that in terms of that stuff. Even though it is a pretty global game, not fully global, so it's interesting for sure. But I think that'll do it for the sports. I'm gonna get into more sports next week as usual. Stay tuned. And now, let us read from the book of Grav. I'm still moving through this catastrophe. To end it, I give the last of me. It's hard being so intelligent. I just don't know where the hell it went. My life is so wild and chaotic. The world blamed me when they got sick. I'm just living. That's a crime to them. I'm focused, ain't giving a dime to whim. My career's carefully calculated. Only hearsay values hatred. We're about to we're about fierce demolition, elimination of all inhibitions. In our own ways, we all been to prison. I mix power and speed and blend precision. You know, I'm serious about the music here. I don't let hate get get a few cubic near. Is that what that says? I'm sorry. That's one of the first times I couldn't read a word. I believe that's what it says. I don't let hate get a few cubic near. You know I'm serious about this music here. I feel like I'm barely breathing. With each day my air's depleting. Everywhere's deceiving. Few can manage what they're receiving. Feel like I'm barely breathing. With each day my air's depleting. Everywhere's deceiving. You can manage within what they're receiving. Alright. Book of Grav. Yeah. Not the greatest book of Grav in the world. This just overall not the most amazing episode you'll ever see of this show, but I want to say that I do have a lot of love for everyone out there. My heart, I feel like, is in the right place. I know there are times where I go too far, not far enough, even in certain ways, and I apologize for that. I'm still trying to be a better person, and it's hard. You can't really do it with alcohol. So, if it's on the floor, then what? But yeah. I do appreciate you for listening. And if I do say things that push you away, I'm sorry. Don't mean to. Clearly, I upset some people last week. Maybe not. Maybe it was a long time coming. Maybe it was random. Maybe they even just deleted their accounts and that happened. Because I would think that if you delete a Spotify account, you probably can't follow it again, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. So stay safe out there, everyone. You know, stay smart, and I'm gonna be here for you. Whatever you need, I got you. You know, I'm just trying to grow into the best version of myself that I can be. I'm sorry that probably sounded terrible, scratching the mic like that. It was an accident, and yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more shows and just getting out there more and just making things happen. That's what we got to do. We don't do that enough, and we wonder why we're not happy. Like, well, we gotta do more. But yeah, I know that my struggle is going to continue. I know that I still got a lot of work to do. I'm trying to be the best person I can. If you got any tips for me, feel free. I can actually take constructive criticism. Sometimes I question whether or not it's actually constructive, but if it is, I genuinely can appreciate it and accept it. You know, I mean, I'll still look at it through your lens because I know that it's your lens. It's like I still got to be fully aware of your character and what type of person you are, but in general, I'll take it, you know, and try to make something out of it. Obviously, there's going to be terrible advice. Like, not all advice is good advice. Like, I actually, one of my pastimes is like creating fake things like that. No, I'm just playing. I don't do that. But yeah, oh, much love to Asher Alicorn. I miss you and I can't wait to see you. We got like a month left and I'll be counting down. It's sweetest. So, I love Asher Alicorn in conclusion. She loves me, and she is the cutest. So, her spring break's over now. She'll go back to school. She has to face that harsh reality. I hope she enjoyed it. It seemed like she did. I hope all your kids enjoy their spring breaks and all the people who are going on spring break. I hope you have a great time. It really has been a pleasure to meet so many of you and just enjoy ourselves, you know, build a better future together, smile, laugh, don't forget to love, and that's about it, man. I thank you for tuning in. Another episode. I mean, I make minimal money on this, but I appreciate any amount. Um, and I promise to do better next week. I can promise that effectively. You know, I know that next week's episode will be better. So I love you. I accept you. And that's all there is to it. Zero Grav.